Hello, dear friends. This is Harvest of Light at Kardec Radio at 11 p.m. This is chapter 50 and actually day 51 because we had the preface at the very beginning. It's been 51 nights, days that we have been together, thank God, with the single opportunity of studying messages from Emmanuel. Why do the good spirits bring these messages to us? Because we need instructions in a daily basis, nourishment, right? It's quite interesting that we don't realize the importance of daily nourishment. Imagine if we would eat once a week, it wouldn't suffice. We would lack nutrients. Why do we only nourish ourselves spiritually once a week, if ever? So these teachings are true nourishment, and we need to cherish it. Welcome back, Wagner Jr. Welcome, dear friends. I see loving friends joining us and getting into the mode of Emmanuel, right? Valéria Benfica, big hug. Chris Anastasia is also here with us. What a joy, Chris. And we also have here João Bosco and the people that I can see from here. As you are coming in, we're able to feel the presence of this classroom. If you're listening to us on demand, don't forget, feel in the classroom as well. Feel as if you're here now because it is a live study at any time. Right, Hipólito? So, today we're studying chapter 50 from the book Ceifa de Luz. The book Ceifa de Luz is translated already under revision. We are sharing with you one of the final revisions, not yet the final. And in this beautiful revision, we are sharing the teachings that we can no longer wait, because this was published in 1979, though it was written in 1972. 1972, 46 years ago. It's about time, right, Dulcie, that we have the opportunity of studying this chapter. And today, I tell you, Emmanuel brings to us a poetic chapter. Sometimes people don't know Emmanuel enough. They think Emmanuel is like a general. He's a tough guy. No, he's not. He's loving. He's already embraced in the aura of the Christ. He allowed himself, he surrendered, right, so Souza? And this is an invitation, a poetic invitation named Before the Divine Sower. Who is the Divine Sower? And who are we? Let me read to you. And then we're going to break it down. Chapter 50. Before the Divine Sower. Listen, a farmer went out to sow his seed. Jesus, as in Mark 4:3. Emmanuel explains to us, Jesus is the sower of the earth, and humanity is God's plantation in his hands. Let us remember the renunciation demanded of the seed, called to the production that is destined for the barn, so that we will not succumb to our own tasks. Tossed to the dark nest of the field, where it is supposed to bloom, the seed suffers extreme abandonment, suffocated by the weight of the soil that crushes her envelopment. Alone and oppressed, the seed strips itself of the inferior forces that constrict it, so that its germinative principles can receive the blessing of heaven. However, as soon as it develops, It usually suffers the assault of worms that taint its inner when it does not experience the avalanche of mud by force of the storms. Yet, obscure and modest, the plant born instinctively believes in the wisdom of nature that has shaped its existence and grows towards the sunshine, dressing in tender fronds and blossoming melodies of perfume and beauty, to later fructify in resources that sustain life. Before the sublime sower, do not give in to the sorrows of incomprehension and isolation, of temptations and afflictive and rude trials. Believe in the divine power that created you for immortality, and in the silence of unceasing labor for the good that you have been brought up for. Rise to the sovereign light in the certainty that through integration with the love that governs destinies, you will arrive under the generous protection of celestial orchardmen to the fruitless of true happiness. I'm going to let you here chew upon a little bit of Emmanuel's words while I go downstairs because there's a crying small child that I have to attend, and I'll be right back with you. I appreciate your understanding and your help. Mamma mia. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. Everything is fine. And these are the challenges we read in the message. Before the divine sower. How hopeful is this message? That we're being invited to be cultivated by Jesus in the name of God. How about this? How do you feel when you get to know through Emmanuel that your heart is the field of cultivation of Jesus? So let me go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, which I have here in ebook. Okay? Spirit's teaching. It's about a little before the parable of the sower. And this is in the chapter that talked about be perfect in the Gospel according to Spiritism by Kardec. Kardec quotes the parable as in Matthew in this case, and then he explains to us. Allan Kardec, the parable of the sower, which is the quotation of Emmanuel in this chapter. The parable of the sower represents perfectly the nuances that exist in the ways one profits from the teachings of the gospel. How many people there are, in fact, for whom the gospel teachings are only a dead letter, which, like the seed that has fallen on the stony soil, produces no crop. This parable finds a no less correct application in the different categories of spiritists. It is not a symbol of those who are interested only in the physical phenomena, but derive nothing of consequence from them because they seem as nothing more than an object of curiosity. He goes on and on and on, and this parable was used by Kardec in the chapter Be Perfect in the Gospel According to Spiritism. Emmanuel brings to us and says that we, divine sower, Jesus on earth, Jesus is the sower of the earth, and we are the field of his cultivation. How is your field doing? How are you doing? Are you open? Are you an easy soil? Are you allowing yourself to be cultivated by the Master? What are we doing with these teachings? Are we doing just like anybody else? Behaving like everybody else? Making choices like all those who don't know this or who do not understand in this way? Okay, you've heard this before. Let's go back to Emmanuel and see how he spends 6 more paragraphs in this chapter breaking down other concepts that are deep in the psychology of ourselves. He says, first and foremost, let us remember the renunciation demanded of the seed. Okay, mark down, please. Let's mark down. Renunciation, okay? I'm marking down. Renunciation. So we do not succumb to our own tasks. So Emmanuel is saying, don't forget about your destiny. What is your destiny? He says at the end, the fructification of our true happiness. Did you know that we are all destined to happiness? Oh, Vanisha, but I think it's not going to happen in this life. Well, it depends on the point of view. What is happiness for you? If happiness is duty fulfilled, then you may achieve it. If happiness is overcoming our addictions and shortcomings, then we may achieve it in this life. But if happiness is not having any of this, then you're right. It's not going to happen in this life. It's going to be hard, especially in this planet. Because in this school, it's not there yet. But it depends on our take on it. What is happiness for you? But one thing, your destiny. Kardec says it. All the Spirit Emmanuel revisits it. And he says, to achieve it, step number 1, renunciation. But renunciation of what? Of our inner inertia? Yes. Of the comfort zone? Yes. Oh, but I wish my life were so much easier. Blah, blah, blah. I feel so much in prison. But what did you want? Easy breezy life and no duty and no progress? I'm not saying about you. I'm talking about myself, okay? No pointing fingers. But we're talking about the fact that we ourselves need to renounce to the comfort. Because that means inertia. And inertia doesn't go anywhere. We need to allow this force that comes from the Christ consciousness, to stimulate us to get out of this inertia and say, yes, every Sunday I maybe used to be at home doing nothing, but when I found Jesus, no longer. No longer. I want to share something with you. I remember when I was 14 years old, and I was at the Spiritist Center in the youth group, and they said, we're starting on Sundays the Spiritist lessons for at-risk children in another neighborhood, and would like to know which one of you would like to come and help us as educators and also to feed them. But you need to be there by 7 a.m. I felt so enthusiastic. I said, oh, my Sundays are going to be so meaningful now, because you wake up and you are at your own expense. It's much easier to go and help somebody who is in need than being by yourself and say, what do I do now? Oh, do nothing, but do nothing is boring, right? So the feeling that we have of the gift of life when we're being called to serve, when we're called to be useful, is a blessing, is a true blessing. So renouncing the inertia is important. Then he says, the seed is tossed into the dark nest. Visualize it. The seed, the soil, it's dark. And what does it do? He's such an educator that he tells you and I and everybody, because you're being cultivated, you're going to suffer from extreme abandonment. Because you are being cultivated. So it's normal that we look around and we see, where are my friends? Where are my people? We don't find it. We're talking about day-to-day life. And suffocated by the weight of the soil that crushes the envelopment. Alone and oppressed. That's how many people started feeling. Nowadays, we have many people experiencing this and they don't know what it is. They think they're being punished. No, you're being cultivated. Now you have awareness. Now you start perceiving that you are in the soil of life. And you look around and, oh my gosh, I've been here and now I realize, where are the others? Where am I? What am I supposed to do? That's the first insight. And sometimes people get lost in like, oh, my life is terrible. They go depressed. Don't. There are good spirits cheering up for you. The cultivators with Jesus. They know that you are there in the soil of life. They know that we're there. And they're cheering up for us saying, don't give up. Keep on going. Stay strong. And he says here, The seed then compresses its inner forces and starts germinating. Right? Right, sunshine. Isn't that how we feel, my friend? Hmm? And Emmanuel, since 72, is explaining this to us, and we forget about it. That it's already explained to us. So next time if you're alone in a bed and say, no, 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 I'm a seed cultivated in the soil of life. Come on, let's put myself out. The force of life. The force of life. And this allows me to bring a concept from Freud in psychoanalysis when he said that there is the force of life and the force of death. It's the death of the old and then the force, the birth of the new. Put some effort. As André Luiz says in the book Evolution in Two Worlds, effort. Come on, we can do it. And if you don't know how to do it, pray. But I'm going to pray a whole lot, Vanessa. Well, prayer doesn't hurt all the time. But I cry and pray. Keep on praying and praying and praying. Have you heard about the life of Saint Rita of Cassia? Hmm? Google it. There is a movie in different languages about it, and you're going to be enchanted. A true account of a woman in the Dark Ages who experienced a tough time, but she's an inspiration on how we keep on praying. Like the seed in the dark soil and say, no, I was born for the best. From the best God, the good of the good. So I keep on trusting faith and I keep on putting my germinative processes up to receive the blessing of heaven. So that's a good exercise. When we feel this way, feel yourself, like hold yourself as if you were a seed. Hold and visualize the cultivators of the beyond with Jesus, the good spirits watering you with new hope, showering you with new strength, with renewal. And you receive that water and keep on sprouting. He says, as soon as it develops, it will then, another challenge now. One is to come out of our isolation. And the one now is the assault of the worms. In the Spirit book by Allan Kardec, I have the ebook here. I'm just reminding everybody that sometimes you don't have the bookstore near you. But nowadays with internet, Mamma Mia, we have the book right here, okay, at hand. So when we go to the Spirit book by Allan Kardec, he talks about the influence of spirit. So let me open here a little bit, since we're studying together. It's worthwhile checking on them. It's part 2, and he talks about it's chapter 9, intervention of the spirits, okay? So, do spirits have any influence on our thoughts and actions? 495, question and answer. Answer, their influence on you in this regard is greater than you suppose, for very frequently it is they who guide you. And they go on and on and on until there is one thing here. For what purpose? Question and answer 465. For what purpose do imperfect spirits induce us to wrongdoing? To make you suffer as they do themselves do. Does it actually lessen their sufferings? Kardec asked. And the answer was no. But they do so anyway out of envy at seeing beings happier than they are. Kardec then kept asking, what kinds of suffering do they wish to inflict on us? Those that result from belonging to a lower order and from being far from God. Okay, it keeps going on and on and on. And why are we quoting this? Because Emmanuel says that the next challenge of the seed, when it's sprouted, is the assault of the worms. And it's pretty much what we're seeing here, Kardec say. We're assaulted by the thoughts and influence of others, and we may be doing the same to others. And he says, sometimes even the avalanche of mud by force of the storms, which is the challenge of life. And he says, yet in obscure and modest, the plant that was born believes in the wisdom of nature. Question, do you believe in the wisdom of nature in you? No, sometimes we don't. Many times we don't. We see many people nowadays that doubt themselves. Let us ask ourselves. Mentor Joseph is asking. Do you feel you are divine? Do you feel you are divine? Sacred? Do you feel it? Let's think about this. Because he's saying the plant believes in the wisdom of nature that has shaped its existence and grows towards the sunshine. How about you and I? Do we believe in our sacred nature? So let us practice it ourselves. Put your hand on your chest and tell yourself, I am sacred. I am a holy being. I'm sacred. I'm divine. I am holy. I am a sacred, divine, holy being. Breathe in and out. Once again. Tell yourself, I'm sacred, I'm divine, I'm holy. So that's the exercise in the next 24 hours. In whatever occasion when you doubt yourself, stop and tell yourself, where I'm going to do the same. I am sacred, I am divine, I am holy. I'm sacred, I'm divine, I am holy. Teach it to your children. I'm sacred, I'm divine, I'm holy. I'm as more precious than a jewel. Oh yeah. When we're going to be studying Evolution into Worlds with André Luiz, through Chico Xavier and Paulo Vieira, we're going to see exactly what Emmanuel is saying here. That the wisdom of nature has truly shaped us for billions of years. You're sacred. You're precious. You're holy. We cannot trash ourselves out anymore. And we cannot give our ears listen to the voices that undermine our divine nature. People say, but you, holy us. We're holy. We're sacred. We are divine. I can't listen to the voices of the worms, to the threats of the storms, because they are simple challenges. And I don't say simple meaning easy, meaning they are part of life. I'm sacred, I'm holy, I am divine. That's our exercise, okay? And he keeps saying, then dressing in tender fronds, blossoming melodies of perfume and beauty to later fructify in resources that sustain life. Now let me tell you this. Let us talk about this. You see, men and women who are already giving fruits, like Divaldo Franco, he made an effort to be there. It didn't happen out of the blue. You are also destined to fructify, to give flowers and perfume and fruits. And if we're not there yet, it's just a matter of time, effort, repetition, and time. Don't think about tomorrow. You know, the tree, like the brain, like anything in nature, for my brain, for example, to create a new pathway, to make myself able to perform a new task or behavior, I do need tiny molecules that little by little attract one another or repel each other to create a new synapse, and then from one to the next in a pathway. It doesn't, nothing in nature happens overnight. Everything's gradual, but depending on the effort and the intensity, it may happen sooner. So the question is, why are we going to wait for next reincarnation? Some people tell me, yeah, next reincarnation I'm going to devote myself to spirituality and the spiritist practice. But who guarantees you that you're going to have the same resources that you have in your hand nowadays? And you may be asked, Vanessa, why not? Well, according to the book Among Brothers of Other Lands by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, not only Emmanuel, several authors, our dear Angie Stewart is going to be studying this book in a few studies ahead on Thursdays. And in that book, there's a chapter that talks about this. It's a twist to the parable of the sower. A spirit came and said that the spiritist, the parable of talents, it says that a spiritist is the one that received one talent and afraid of not being understood, of not having companionship, he put it aside. But St. Francis said, you cannot wait to be understood. We have to do the good, even if people don't understand. Kardec had to do a whole lot by himself, and I do quotes, by himself, because he was at the vanguard. People wouldn't understand. And there are things that you'll be doing that you will be at the vanguard of your family, of your co-workers, of your community, even the Spiritist Center. Does that mean you're going to do it alone? No. It means that the mainstream people will not get it. But if you do not do your part, people will not come. Somebody has to bring the torch to illuminate, and then people see the light. Chico Xavier did this. It wasn't easy for him. In Pedro Leopoldo, a tiny little village that became a town, but a village. Tiny. Courage, Dona Verducci is saying. Right, Dona Verducci. What a beautiful and important concept. Courage. Hello, Ella Montanari. It's good to see you here. So courage. Courage. We need to have courage. And that's not pride, But how do you know, Vanessa, you're not going crazy? Easy, huh? Mentor Joseph, I asked this question a while ago to him, and he says, you ask yourself, Vanessa, is what you're gonna do something that is gonna hurt anybody? If your answer is no, and second question, is what you're gonna do something that is gonna benefit others? If your answer is yes, go ahead. We cannot afford not doing the good, even though we don't know, may not understand. So he's saying to us, before the sublime sower, do not give in to the sorrows of incomprehension. This is Emmanuel. Last two paragraphs of this beautiful chapter. Before the sublime sower, Jesus, do not give in to the sorrows of incomprehension as isolation, temptations, and afflictive and rude trials. Keep yourself strong. Do not give up. Of course, the new, the good, is still misunderstood. But if you stop, then how will people know? You need to renounce, as he said at the beginning, the inertia. And it takes courage to do it. Donna Verducci is saying, is it necessary, helpful, harmful? Buddha is saying, exactly. You see, Mentor Joseph is in alignment. It's a universal principle. Thank you for summarizing such a beautiful and wise way, Donna Verducci. Thank you so much. Finally, Emmanuel reminds us, believe in the divine power that created you for immortality. Stop. Are you feeling the scripture? Are you feeling it? Let's feel it. Believe in the divine power that has created you for immortality. We need to tell this to our children, to our teens. And they say, I can't do this. But then we say, but why did God create you? I'm sure it was for a beautiful purpose. When you see a beautiful baby, a beautiful kid, and I say beautiful because all are beautiful in their own way, we need to tell them, you're so beautiful. I'm wondering why God made you so beautiful. And it's beyond physical beauty. To make them connect that they are who they are because God wants them to be who they are. Believe in the divine power that created you for immortality, says Emmanuel. In the silence of non-stop work for the good that you have been brought up for. I know people who tell me, I want to do the good, but the good is right there on your face and you don't see it. You think the good that you're going to do is going to be somewhere else, far away. But that doesn't make sense that God planted you where you are or transplanted you to where you are nowadays. Where should I help? Where you are. But I don't see how. Well, observe the needs of people. But you know the problem? Usually, we don't want to start small. We want to do things that elevate our pride. That's why we want to do something big elsewhere. Chico Xavier started with his family in his hometown. Then he moved away. And now he helps the world. We deeply root ourselves where we are to blossom, to stay strong where we are now. But something is off. Observe the needs of your community. If you participate in a Spiritist Center, get to know that Spiritist Centers function. There's a whole lot of work on the behind the scenes. It seems simple, but on the behind the scenes, nowadays with internet, it's a whole lot more. It's an internet presence and a physical presence in the headquarters. So it's a whole lot of work. And if you benefit yourself from that center, it's also your opportunity to give back with your talents. Help in the ways that you can to minimize the overwhelming amount of work that is in few shoulders. And he says here, rise to the sovereign light. You see, he's giving us commands like a teacher, as if the teacher of a gym is saying, stand up, move to the right, move to the left. Emmanuel is saying, believe in the divine power. 1. 2, and in your purpose to do the good. And 3, rise to God in the certainty that you're integrated with the love that governs all destinies. And everything else is just nature. You will arrive, says Emmanuel, under the generous protection of Jesus, the celestial orchard man, to the fruitfulness of true happiness. Can you imagine our lives without the sower of the earth, Jesus? We wouldn't be smiling here because he brought us the good news. What do we do now? Believe in your existence, in your divinity, in your good purpose in life, and rise to God. Everything else is just a byproduct of that simple choice. So that's our exercise, for the next 24 hours. Tell ourselves, I am divine, I am sacred, I am holy. I was born to do the good. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I reincarnated to learn to do good. I reincarnated to learn to do good. We exist to do the good, just to do the good. That's why you're born. Be perfect, says the gospel. And the gospel according to Spiritism brings to us, be perfect. Perfect your emotions. Perfect yourself. Allow yourself to be cultivated by the divine sower. What a message, huh, friends? What a message! We're so thankful to God, right? Rihanna is saying this is a powerful, uplifting message. I agree with you. This is good news making us feel good. So when you feel abandoned, remember, you are the seed in the soil of life. You're not alone. Right, Daisy? We're not alone. Keep believing. Challenges happen. Yes, of all sorts. But that's why we're here. To learn to overcome the challenges. Learning to overcome the challenges. What's going to happen next? What does Emmanuel have it in his plans for us? Chapter 51. You think it's enough? He doesn't think so, because he's going to title next chapter 51, Opportunity and Us. He says, the Creator establishes the tree in a seed. The individual can protect and perfect her, right? And he says at the end, in any task to your inner betterment and elevation, in which we expect, await new acquisitions of peace and joy, happiness and security, let us not forget that the possibility to that the possibility of being born of God and the work that comes from us. We're divine. We're holy. We can overcome. We can move forward as long as we feel God as the center of our universe. Right, Sunshine? She's saying it's very helpful. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you, friends. And let us practice this affirmation. I am divine. I am holy. I am sacred. The worms, the storms, the trials, the isolation, the incomprehension, whatever it is. Feel the cultivators with the sower of God on earth, showering upon us protection, loving kindness, and strength. Everything shall pass. This shall also pass. Thank you, friends. And until tomorrow, God willing.